How to scale a Facebook ad account in 2024. Hey, my name is Cedric, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 ways that you can scale a Facebook ad account, but I'm also going to be sharing the most common mistake that I see advertisers make when they try to scale that account. So if you are right now in the process of scaling your Facebook spend, or you just want to learn how to do it so that when that time comes, you know exactly what to do, well, this video is for you. So with that being said, let's get into this week's content. So let's actually start with the most common mistake I see, because I know a lot of you guys are just going to watch the first few minutes of the video and then move on to something else, and I just want to make sure that at least you don't make that mistake, in that even if you watch the first few minutes, that you know a little bit better. So inside my demo ad account right now, let's just say that your budget right now is $400 a day, and that's what you're spending, and you're looking at scaling, maybe because you just now have a little bit more budget for the month, or your CPL or your cost per purchase is really good. So again, you just want to scale. So the number one mistake that I see advertisers make is actually just going in here and editing the budget and changes this number to, let's say, $800 a day. So they're going to make a huge increase in the Facebook spend and literally double the budget. And that is a really bad method to scale. And that actually brings me to the number one strategy that you can use to scale. And it's actually using the 20% increment rule. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your overall budget. And let's say, for example, right now you are spending $200 a day. Well, if you actually want to start and scale your ad account, what you want to do is instead look at the amount that you're currently spending, which in this campaign would be $200 a day, and add 20% to that. So what is 20% of $200? Well, that is about $40. So what I would do is I would just change this to 240, and then I would save that and publish that. And then you might say, okay, well, Cedric, that's great, but we're not really scaling here. Like, I wanted to spend $400 or $800. Like, now we only added $40. Yes, but then what we're gonna do is every 2 to 3 days, we're gonna come back here and then we're gonna apply the same rule. So, okay, well, now let's do 20% of 240. And you're gonna keep doing that until you reach the spend level that you wanna reach, or until you see an increase in your cost per lead or your cost per purchase, or whatever is the metric that you're analyzing to determine the success of your Facebook ads. So that is the first method, and I would probably say that's the easiest way to scale your ad account. But as you can see, it takes up a lot of time to actually get to that specific spend that you want to reach. So this is why you definitely want to hear what method 2 is. So method 2 is actually to launch some new creative tests, and usually I actually combine method 2 with method 1. So I'll go ahead and take a look at my campaigns, and I'll see which one has a really good either cost per lead, cost per purchase. Really depends on the main metric that we use to determine success. And I'll increase the budget by 20%, like I said, every 2 to 3 business days. But then I'll actually go inside my testing campaign, and then I'll launch a new test. So for example, here we have our main campaign and a testing campaign. So here we've already increased the budget $40. So that campaign, I actually won't be touching it anymore, just because we've already made the changes for today. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here in this demo account. As you can see, there's only one testing ad set. And what I usually do is every time I wanna test new creatives, I actually launch it as its own ad set, and I use ABO. ABO stands for Ad Set Budget Optimization, and it just means that the spend is set on the ad set level. So whenever you launch a new creative test inside a new ad set, it has its own budget. And that's a really great way to scale faster, because for the main campaign, if we follow the 20% increment rule, it's going to take a decent amount of days to get to, let's say, 400 or 800 in spend. But it's easier to get there with just by launching a new ad set. So if you launch a new ad set, and let's say every time you launch a new ad set inside your ad account, because your monthly budget, you spend about $150 a day on a new ad set just to start, you can easily just create some more creative, whether that's image ads or video ads. And by the way, guys, we have a lot of videos on this channel showing you how to generate really, really great creatives from UGC to image ads. And I'll leave those links in the description of this video. But go ahead and create some ads, launch a new ad set, and then you can set a budget of $150 a day. So now what you just did is you've increased your budget of your main campaign from 200 to 240. You've also launched some new creatives in a new ad set, so you added an additional $150 a day. So now basically you just increased your budget from spending, let's say, $350 a day, right? If we combine the $150 here in my testing campaign and then the $200 here that was before, right? I increased the budget, so that brings us to $350. So I added $40 and then I added another $150, right? Because I launched a new testing ad set with a budget of $150. So I just increased the budget by $190 in one day. So versus just following the traditional, hey, I'll increase the budget by 20% rule, you can actually launch new tests, and that's just gonna help accelerate the process, because again, it can take a decent amount of time to reach the spend goal by just following the 20% increment rule. And then this same rule, like the first rule, can apply actually to your testing campaign. So if a testing campaign is performing well, so let's grab this one for example, you can actually go here and just increase the spend by 20%. And then every 2 to 3 days, you just come back here, look at the CPA, let's say in the last 3 to 5 days, and see if the numbers still make sense. Can you actually afford to scale still, or do you potentially need to hold it and maybe launch new creatives? Because that's also something else that's going to determine how I scale. Because if my main campaign, or honestly any of the ads that I currently have, they're performing okay, but honestly the CPA right now is kind of high, a little bit higher than I want it to be, but we're still right now in the scaling mode, so I do want to spend more. Then right now I actually only have one path, and that's method number 2, right? Launching new creatives, because we cannot really scale something that doesn't have a good CPL or cost per purchase, again, whatever the metric is that you're utilizing, because the more you spend, that number is not going to get better. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is a little bit later in this video. But as a general rule, the more you spend, the more it's going to get expensive to actually get purchases or lead, or whatever it is the event that you're optimizing for. This is why in all the ad accounts that I manage, when we're looking at scaling, I usually use method 2, because it allows us to scale a little bit faster and also gives us an opportunity to actually decrease the CPA. Method number 3. So this one is good if you're trying to scale as fast as possible. And the strategy here is actually just to duplicate either your main campaign or an ad set. So for example, my main campaign, I'm spending, let's say I'm spending $250 a day, just to make it simple. So I'm spending $250 a day. What a lot of advertisers would do, which I do not recommend, is they would just go here and change that campaign to $500 a day. And then what they would see is probably an increase in the cost per lead or cost per purchase. So instead, what you can do is just duplicate that main campaign. And now when you're duplicating it, you can keep the same audience, keep the same ads, and keep the same spend. And now you're going to be spending $500 a day. So sometimes it's actually easier for Facebook and their algorithm to generate like a cost per lead at about a similar amount to what they were doing, let's say in the main campaign. And sometimes honestly, I've duplicated a campaign and a cost per lead or cost per purchase was a little bit cheaper. So it really depends. But what I did notice though is that it's actually better in terms of results when you duplicate the main campaign, and then you can leave everything else as is and then split the spend between those two campaigns instead of just having one campaign that is spending a lot of money. Again, I don't recommend this if you can just follow the 20% increment rule, but let's say, I don't know, you have numbers to hit and you're a little bit behind, or you're just trying to scale as fast as possible, that is another strategy that you can use. So duplicate that main campaign and then duplicate that ad set that you maybe have in your testing campaign that is performing well. So that is the third method. That is it for this video. If you've learned something and if you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. What that's going to do is it's going to allow other people just like you that are looking at scaling your ad account find this video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, because we release videos just like this every week. Bye for now.